Taylor Lorenz, serial liar, crybully, influencer journalist, and defamation machine who I once sued for libel, just got exposed promoting phones designed for children as young as 6 years old. When a Vox journalist called out the conflict of interest, she threatened lawsuits, called everyone liars, and played victim. But Taylor Lorenz is funded by the Omidyar network, which has strict ethics policies that she appears to have violated. We're going to break down every hypocritical moment with full receipts. Today we're exposing the Taylor Lorenz Bark phone saga, her promotional video, the journalist who called her out, her word games when she got caught, and why this perfectly illustrates the crybully playbook that I survived in 2020. Let me explain who Taylor Lorenz is for those blessed souls lucky enough to avoid her until now. She used to bounce between tech reporter jobs, and she was at the New York Times and the Washington Post covering internet culture and online harassment. She got fired, shocking, I know, and now she runs her own little publication, publicly funded by Omidyar Network as a reporter in residence.
Anyone claiming that I or the reporting fellowship that I'm in is currently receiving dark money is lying through their teeth. I'm currently in the Omidyar Network's Reporters in Residence program. It's a nonpartisan, non-political journalism program to support independent journalists.
And she's recently rebranded herself as an expert on kids' online safety, and she's become a vocal opponent of school phone bans, arguing that they harm kids' safety and communication. This new child advocate persona is particularly galling to me because this is the same Taylor Lorenz who twisted my actual attempt to protect a 14-year-old girl into an attack against me. That's not protecting kids. That's basically rewriting history for personal gain. For those who don't live in the influencer economy or chronically online, let me explain what we're talking about here. A brand deal is when a company pays you or gives you free products to promote their stuff to your audience. The Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, they require you to disclose these relationships with hashtags like hashtag ad or hashtag sponsored, any kind of indication so that people know when they're being sold to. And it's supposed to create transparency between content creators and their audiences. Now, what exactly was Taylor Lorenz promoting? Taylor Lorenz was promoting the Bark phone.
So we got a Bark phone. Have you heard of Bark? It's a parental control app that they have where you can put it on your kid's device. But this is a phone that they offer.
And it is marketed as a safer smartphone for kids 6 years old to 15, built on Samsung software. It has tamper-proof parental controls that kids cannot disable. It monitors all text and social media activities in real time and sends alerts to parents for concerning content. No social media apps come pre-installed. Parents control what gets added. And the pricing is $10 to $25 monthly for device rental plus $29 to $79 for service plans. So we have someone who opposes school phone bans. She doesn't want the schools to ban phones. And now she's promoting surveillance phones designed for children as young as 6. And here's the kicker. Taylor Lorenz is promoting parenting products while not even being a parent herself. The conflict of interest should be obvious to anyone with half a brain. But here's why I can spot her ethics violations and crybully behavior immediately. Because Taylor Lorenz has done this exact playbook before. And at that time, I was her target. In August 2020, she wrote a New York Times hit piece that destroyed my talent management business called Influences. The article that Taylor Lorenz wrote was a masterclass in character assassination disguised as journalism, and she painted me as this exploitative manager running basically sweatshops, taking advantage of naive young creators. But here's what she conveniently didn't disclose. She was represented by UTA, United Talent Agency, at the exact same time. UTA was literally the agency competing for my clients, and the New York Times ethics policies explicitly forbid covering competitors of entities that represent you. Oopsies, but it didn't matter to Taylor Lorenz. Taylor Lorenz had even written glowing coverage about UTA just months earlier before she destroyed my business, calling UTA the most relevant talent agency in the industry practically. The conflict of interest was massive and completely undisclosed. Sound familiar? And guess what happened after her hit piece about me ran? Many of my creators left my company and signed with UTA. Convenient timing, right? Well, she violated journalism ethics to benefit her own representation while destroying my business. One of her sharpest attacks in that article was framing my advice to creators who I didn't even manage, just honestly trying to help them out. I told them to do some free promotional content to build portfolios, aka show me what you can do. Are you going to do an ad for somebody? Well, what does that ad look like? If you have only maybe 10 or 20,000 followers and you've never done a brand deal, well, how is anybody going to hire you for a brand deal if they don't know what a brand deal would look like on your page? This is something every young actor or model does. And Taylor Lorenz and her colleagues basically framed this as slave labor and exploitation. And she told the world that I was running these TikTok houses with bad practices, when in reality, that's standard practice for building experience in the entertainment industry. That article that Taylor Lorenz wrote led to my $11.6 million defamation lawsuit against her and the New York Times. I eventually settled in 2024 after the judge ruled twice that the case could move forward, which is a very big deal considering the New York Times hasn't lost a defamation lawsuit since the 1960s, you guys. But I didn't have the financial resources to continue fighting one of the most powerful news organizations in the world. And Taylor had the New York Times paying her legal bills back then. Now she's on her own, which is probably why she's so much more unhinged these days. Although you would think that because she doesn't have the backing of, Moneybags New York Times, that she would try to be a little more careful, but she doesn't really care. But why did I settle my case? Well, because I didn't have the money to go forward. It was going to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to fight against Taylor Lorenz. I was a little guy. It was David versus Goliath. But when I settled the case, she celebrated online, called my lawsuit meritless, and continues to spin it as me running a harassment campaign against journalists. Classic victim narrative from someone who threw the first punch and had the backing of the most powerful news organization in the world, while I was just a bootstrapped Latina immigrant trying to defend my business. Here's the hypocrisy that makes this bark phone situation so infuriating. She destroyed my business for advising creators to do free promotional work to build portfolios. And now she admits that she does free promo work to build her portfolio for pitching other brands. The exact same practice she called exploitative when I advised it. That's the setup for everything we're about to break down. This isn't her first rodeo, baby. She loves to violate journalistic ethics, playing victim when getting caught, or attacking others for practices she engages in herself. It's a pattern, and this bark phone saga is just the latest example.
Watch your step. She's here to play. And though she be but little, she is fierce. Takes the drama, cuts it clear. This is the Little Miss Jacob Show. Bullies beware, she'll take you down in a thread,
Welcome back, citizen journalists. The crybully case files are officially open. So in August 2025, Taylor Lorenz posts a TikTok video promoting the bark phone. And the language she uses tells you everything you need to know about her mindset. She says, and I quote, "I'm proud to partner with the bark phone." She describes it as giving kids independence while keeping them safe, highlights the parental monitoring features, and tags it with hashtags ad and paid partnership with Barkphone across TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Now, most people would see a tech journalist promoting phones designed for children while opposing school phone bans and think, wait, that seems a little sus, right? Like, what's going on here? But apparently Taylor Lorenz thought the internet was too stupid to notice.
I have to do a friends only video because I am just dying at how fucking dumb people on this app are. Like, shockingly dumb.
Enter Rachel Cohen Booth, a journalist at Vox who covers media and technology. Rachel was apparently the only journalist on the internet that day with a functioning brain cell and basic knowledge of journalistic ethics. Because Rachel tweets, and I'm reading this exactly, Rachel tweets, "Call me old-fashioned, but I think Taylor doing paid ads for companies that try to get kids as young as 6 in front of phones is relevant information. In other words, a tech journalist who covers online safety is doing paid ads for phones targeted at young children. This seems like a massive conflict of interest. Simple observation, factual statement, basic journalism ethics question. This is what actual accountability looks like. But the internet wasn't about to let this slide by quietly. Rachel says, haha, okay, this is all insane, but just to set the record straight, because she's now deleted her TikTok video, Taylor posted a video on her account that she labeled as #ad in her caption. She said in the video she's proud to partner with Bark. She explicitly advised parents on this phone software to purchase for little kids, and her Instagram also featured a link to the company, also now deleted. I don't know or really care if she earned a cent. That's an advertisement by any measure of basic journalistic ethics. Yes, true. This is not an edge case. This is not a confusing case. Reporters don't do this, especially for companies we report on. Also, for the record, Taylor never reached out publicly or privately. In fact, she blocked me immediately. And now 6 days later, she's tagging my employer and calling me a liar, using the logic that she's not promoting phones. She's just promoting a company that sells pre-installed software on phones Bark also sells. Give me and everyone a break. This is so stupid and frankly insulting. Oh, thank you, Rachel. I agree with you. And then Taylor Lorenz says, you're literally just making all of this up and it's wild. I know you're older and perhaps don't understand how these platforms work, but the fact remains I was not paid by Bark, and Bark is not a phone company. They make child safety software and sell a phone with it pre-installed. Okay, like, why are we going into semantics about what the freaking company does? It is a phone. You see in their ads, people open up a phone. They call it the Bark phone. Then Rachel says, to clarify, the fourth screenshot where she says, I know you're older, was not to me. She has not engaged with me at all. It was to Ben Ryan, who was asking her about her still then available Instagram link. And then you see Benjamin Ryan says, from what I understand, I'm about 3 to 5 years older than you, Taylor Lorenz. In any case, if you were doing the Bark phone promo for free, why do you still have a promo link for it on your Instagram page? Typically, such links would promote a commission upon sale. Also, why did you tag your post about the Bark phone as #ad on TikTok if you were doing it for free? Also, why did you not protest on August 20th when someone said to you that you were doing a paid ad? Oh my God, now I get it. Kids need phones in class, but not just any phone. They need the Bark phone optimized for their learning success. Ashley Ray, another media observer, jumps in with the sarcasm this situation deserves. This is what Ashley Ray said to kind of poke fun at Lorenz. And Lorenz says, Bark phones are parent-controlled phones that keep kids off social media. Isn't that what you're advocating for? The rabbit hole goes so deep. I am 47, says Benjamin, which means that thank God I grew up without the internet as someone from the tail end of Gen X. It is my understanding that Taylor Lorenz is at the very top end of the millennial generation. And he said, I think she's 40 as she graduated from college in 2007, someone told me. Yeah, Taylor Lorenz says that everybody is doing ageism when they point out how old she is, but when she calls somebody else old, I guess it's allowed. I mean, that is just the beginning of her hypocrisy. And somebody posted, there is something hilarious about her calling out someone's age. Isn't she the real life example of this meme? Well, how do you do, fellow kids? This old guy. Yeah, that's basically her.
She's actually the journalism equivalent of the creeper cruising by the schoolyard asking the kids if they want any free attention in the New York Times.
Nothing says school phone bans are bad for kids like getting paid to sell phones designed for kids. And then the floodgates opened. The responses were absolutely savage. And here's my personal favorite detail that shows how absolutely unhinged this whole situation is. Taylor Lorenz claiming that she used the phone herself, claiming she used it and she likes it. Bestie, what does that even mean? You're out here beta testing surveillance phones designed for 6-year-olds as a childless adult? Like, that is not a product review. That is performance art. You have literally zero credibility evaluating products designed for parenting situations you've never experienced and frankly, probably never will. The memes started flying in, and my favorite, someone should call CPS on anyone taking parenting advice from Taylor Lorenz. But instead of acknowledging the obvious contradiction between opposing phone bans and promoting phones to kids or addressing the legitimate questions about conflicts of interest, Taylor Lorenz did what she always does when she gets caught. She started calling everyone liars. This is where Ben Ryan enters our story. Ben is a writer who covers media and technology, and I guess he's known for actually reading things carefully and actually asking follow-up questions. Basically, he represents everything modern journalism used to be before it became performance art. I mean, I don't know him personally, but he seems like a nice guy to me. Ben posts this perfect side-by-side comparison. On one side, Lorenz's denial tweet saying, "I'm not selling phones." And on the other side, her TikTok transcript literally saying, "Proud to partner with Bark Phone," complete with hashtags and ad tags. So which is it? This is what journalism looks like, holding people accountable using their own words. And Taylor Lorenz absolutely hated being subjected to the same scrutiny that she dishes out to others. And how did our professional journalist respond? With the maturity and grace you would expect from a middle schooler. Her response was predictably defensive. People are literally making all of this up. I'm not selling phones. I am not a shill for any company. This is a completely false. Taylor, we have the screenshots. We have video. We have your own words verbatim. Nobody's making anything up. We're literally reading what you posted publicly. Ma'am, this is not a conspiracy theory. It's a screenshot, okay? But then she tries to provide proof by posting this email from Bark that says, sharing comment from Bark directly, confirming that I was not paid for them and I was not a spokesperson for any Bark products. I promote stuff that I like and use all the time for free. Okay, but she's using this 6th grader app? How is she using it? As was the case here. I am, however, being paid by Omidyar Network as a reporter in residence. Okay, we'll go back to that. And then she highlights here, I'd also like to confirm that you did not accept payment from Bark for this post and you're not a paid spokesperson and your content was based on your own assessment of our products and services. Okay, wait, let me make sure I understand this correctly. You reached out to a phone company to promote their product designed for children, tagged it as an ad, said you were a proud partner with them, but because you didn't receive direct monetary payment, there's no conflict of interest there? Bestie, that actually makes it worse. At least if you got paid, we'd understand the financial motivation that was front and center, but you did free advertising for a company in an industry you cover while promoting their product to the exact same demographic affected by policies that you report on. How exactly is that ethical journalism? The math ain't mathing here again, you guys. This is where other journalists started turning on her, and watching fellow media figures question her credibility was honestly just beautiful to see. But Ben Ryan wasn't finished asking the uncomfortable questions that needed to be answered. He kept pressing on the ethics issue, pointing out that conflicts of interest aren't magically solved by working for free. And that's when Taylor Lorenz showed us exactly who she really is underneath all of that performative journalism. Now, I need to explain something that makes this entire situation 10 times worse and shows just how systematic Taylor Lorenz's ethical violations really are. She's not just some random online personality doing questionable phone ads. Taylor Lorenz is funded by Omidyar Network as what they call a reporter in residence. And the Omidyar Network has a very specific, very clear ethics policy that she appears to have systematically violated. Let me read you exactly what their conflict of interest policy requires. No conflicts of interest. Staff, contractors, or people financially tied to Omidyar cannot engage in activity where personal or financial gain conflicts with Omidyar's mission. Disclosure is mandatory. Even potential conflicts, not just direct payment, must be disclosed to leadership. Perceived conflicts count. It doesn't matter if no money changed hands. If something looks like a conflict to reasonable observers, it must be disclosed and cleared. So Taylor Lorenz violated every single one of these requirements while engaging in systematic word games to cover her tracks. Let me show you exactly how she manipulated language to avoid accountability. First, Taylor Lorenz says she's a proud partner to Bark Phone in her promotional video. Then, when called out, she suddenly shifts to, I did a completely unpaid promo for a product I liked. Okay. You liked a product that like restricts your phone access, like a 6-year-old? See the language manipulation there? Partner signals a formal business relationship. Walking it back to unpaid promo after facing backlash is classic damage control reframing. But here's where she really exposes herself. She admits, I promo stuff all the time because I want examples for my portfolio so I can pitch other brands. Well, this is essentially spec work, unpaid labor that you do in order to land future paid contracts. That's still a form of financial interest, babe. Just deferred compensation instead of immediate payment. And here's where the hypocrisy becomes absolutely mind-blowing. In her hit piece about me, Taylor Lorenz weaponized industry standards against me, claiming that real talent managers don't advise creators to do unpaid promotional work. She framed my standard industry advice as exploitation. And now she's calling her own unpaid Bark Phone advertising industry standard portfolio building. I mean, I couldn't write this perfectly myself. When I advised it, it was slave labor. When she does it, it's professional development. Come on. But in the creator economy, industry standards are crystal clear. If you mark a post as #ad or paid partnership, it signals to your audience that money changed hands, period. That's FTC guidance and universal practice in influencer marketing. Yeah, I did a free promo for product I liked. I'm not selling phones, nor am I spokesperson for any phone companies. How do you like it? You don't have kids, and you're not a kid, so I don't get it. And she says here, I generally mark all free promotional content I make with the promotional label on IG and TikTok, even when it's unpaid, in order to be extra careful about being transparent and compliant. But clearly this has led to confusion. So I will no longer be adding that label so no one gets confused. Okay, now she's just completely going to lie to us. Again, it was an unpaid promo and not even for a phone company. And the only reason the platform label it as paid is because that's how all promotional content is labeled. It doesn't mean the brand paid me. You weirdos will lie all day long. It's pitiful. Taylor Lorenz tries to have it both ways. I'm not getting paid by this company, but also it is marked as an ad because it's promotional in nature and so that it can be boosted. And that, my friends, is the smoking gun.
Guys, this is the smoking gun right here.
It is marked as an ad because it's promotional in nature and so that it can be boosted. What does that mean? That means that Taylor created an ad for them, which they are boosting, aka they're putting money behind it so it can be seen by more people with Taylor's face associated to it and her account. So her account is acting as the vehicle for trust. You see that? It's not an ad coming from the brand's page. It's an ad coming from Taylor Lorenz's page when you get served it up. It's called whitelisting. You cannot claim something isn't an advertisement while literally labeling it an advertisement. The cognitive dissonance is honestly giving me whiplash. Girl, pick a lane and just stay in it, okay? And let's talk about whitelisting because this is where her no payment claim falls apart completely. She gave Bark access to boost her posts as advertisements from her own account. You don't hand a company the keys to your platform unless it's a formal advertising partnership. Here's what makes this even more damaging to her credibility. When Bark promotes her content to tens of thousands of parents, that's payment in itself. It builds her authority in the tech and parenting space. It grows her personal brand and establishes her credibility with audiences she never could have reached organically. That exposure is valuable compensation. What Taylor is essentially saying is, yes, I made a commercial for Bark that Bark is now promoting to tens of thousands of parents, building my personal brand and authority in their target market. But since no direct cash changed hands, it doesn't count as a conflict of interest. That's not ethics. That's wordplay designed to confuse people about what actually happened. The audacity is truly unmatched. But she does this because she thinks that you're too stupid to care or notice. She thinks that her colleagues are too old to know what's going on the internet. When this obvious contradiction creates public confusion, does she take responsibility? Absolutely not. She says, I will no longer be adding that label because it's causing confusion. Read that again. Instead of admitting that she mislabeled content or violated disclosure rules, she frames the confusion as the audience's problem and solves it by removing transparency altogether. That's the complete opposite of ethical disclosure. And according to Omidyar's ethics policies, she should have disclosed the promotional relationship to her employer beforehand. Did she? I doubt it. Avoided content that undermines her credibility as a journalist reporting on technology and child safety, and cleared any potential conflicts before engaging in them. Now, if she did not do this, then she should be reprimanded by Omidyar. Omidyar, why are you guys still hiring her? And if she did clear it through them, then what the hell are they doing? I don't trust them anymore at all. Not that I did ever know anything about them. But anyway, she did none of that, in my opinion. Instead, she created promotional content for a tech company while being funded to report on tech policy, failed to disclose obvious conflicts to her employer, used spec work justification that still creates financial incentives, labeled content as advertising while claiming it wasn't advertising, and removed transparency when questioned instead of adding more disclosure. The systematic nature of these violations shows this wasn't an accident or oversight. This was deliberate deception designed to have her cake and eat it too. Get the benefits of a brand partnership while maintaining the credibility of independent journalism. Speaking of transparency and honest business practices, let me tell you about the real problem Creator Genius solves. If you're a business owner, you know the pain. You're posting on social media religiously, maybe even getting decent views, but those views aren't turning into customers or sales. You're spending hours creating content that gets engagement, but doesn't move the needle for your actual business. That's where Creator Genius comes in. We don't just make videos that get views. We create short form content specifically designed to convert viewers into paying customers. And we're talking strategic hooks that stop your ideal customers mid-scroll, calls to action that actually work, and content that builds trust while driving people to buy. Here's how it works. You tell us about your business and target customers. We handle everything else, the content creation, the platform optimization, the conversion strategy, and you get a month's worth of videos that don't just perform well on social media, that perform well for your bottom line. And unlike some people we're discussing today, we're completely upfront about what we do and how we make money. We solve the specific problem of content that looks good but doesn't convert. No hidden agendas, no word games about our business model. And if you're tired of social media content that wastes your time instead of growing your business, go to creatorgenius.com. Now, back to someone who could desperately use lessons in running an honest business. So Taylor Lorenz has been caught systematically violating ethics policies while playing elaborate word games to avoid accountability. What does she do when people continue pointing out these obvious contradictions? She escalates to legal threats and personal attacks. She threatens Rachel Cohen Booth, the Vox journalist who started this conversation with basic ethics questions. And Taylor Lorenz is like, I'm getting a lawyer to help with this. Rachel, you need to stop spreading lies about me. This is defamatory. Let's be clear about what Rachel actually did. She pointed out that a tech journalist was doing promotional content for phones designed for young children. She used Taylor's own public posts and quoted Taylor's own words. And that's not defamation. That's basic observation of publicly available facts, you guys. Rachel's response was absolutely perfect and shows why Taylor's legal threat was so ridiculous. Whether you got paid or not, you posted hashtag ad and paid partnership. Screenshots do not lie. Rachel then posted 4 screenshots proving every single claim that she had made using Taylor Lorenz's own content as evidence. When you have someone dead to rights with their own words, threatening to sue them just makes you look desperate and dishonest. Meanwhile, Ben Ryan continued asking legitimate questions about journalism, ethics, and conflicts of interest. And Taylor's response, she blocked him because nothing says I have a strong ethical foundation like silencing anyone who asks uncomfortable questions about your professional standards. But the legal threats and blocks were just the warm-up act. This is where Taylor Lorenz really showed us who she is underneath the performative journalism persona. Taylor Lorenz started calling people Nazis for pointing out her conflicts of interest because apparently holding journalists to basic ethical standards is fascism now. Oh my gosh, it's hilarious. She says, I just found out who the guy who spread the lie that I was paid by a phone company, never been paid by a phone company, is the same journalist who wrote the Zoran College admission story and used a literal Nazi as his primary source. He is also an anti-trans hate monger. Okay, that was a dog whistle. That was Taylor Lorenz being like, hey guys, hey anybody that believes in my, whatever ideologies, this is a bad guy, right? She goes, this is who leftists are celebrating and boosting simply to participate in Gamergate. Oh, there she goes. She loves bringing up Gamergate. style hate campaigns against me because my reporting challenges their perceived beliefs about tech. It's disgusting, and it shows how many online leftists are just reactionary shills. Okay, so now she hates right-wingers and she hates people on the left. And as I said on my other thread, I had to deal with all of this as my grandmother was dying, then died and laid her to rest. Well, RIP to Taylor's grandmother. I have nothing against her, and I'm very sad for her passing. She says, I had thousands of leftists abusing me across platforms while I was putting flowers on her grave because they listened to a Nazi quoting transphobe. Yikes. Oh my goodness gracious. When the ethics questions wouldn't go away, she brought up her grandmother's death to deflect from professional accountability, using personal tragedy to avoid answering legitimate questions about her work conduct. And that is emotional manipulation 101, you guys. She dismissed Ben Ryan specifically with ageist attacks, calling him older and claiming he doesn't understand how the internet works because apparently being over 41 disqualifies him from understanding basic journalistic ethics. The irony of someone promoting products for children dismissing adults as too old to understand technology is rich. Throughout all of this, she repeatedly called factual criticism harassment and dismissed people quoting her own words as liars. This is crybully playbook in perfect execution. Number 1, do something obviously problematic. Number 2, deny everything when you are called out using your own evidence. Number 3, call critics liars when they quote you directly. Number 4, threaten lawsuits when denial fails.
Were accused in the last few days of taking money from it's called Bark. It's something to do with phones, and I saw a lot of journalists talking about that. And you said they got it wrong, and you even said you might take legal action. Can you fill us in on what that was about?
Okay, I was being a little dramatic on Twitter. Okay. But yeah, no, people saw me promoting a product that I like, and then accuse me of accuse me of taking money from the company. And the company even issued a statement saying Taylor Lorenz did not take money from us.
Number 5, attack critics personally when legal threats don't work. Number 6, play victim and claim harassment throughout the entire process. The internet wasn't fooled for a second. Good for Ben Ryan and Rachel, because that is the first I've seen in a long time of Taylor Lorenz getting called out for her shenanigans amongst her own peers. And here's the cherry on top of this hypocrisy sundae. Taylor's most recent blog post is titled, "A Dark Money Group is Secretly Funding High-Profile Democratic Influencers." I cannot make this up, you guys. She's literally calling out secret funding of influencers while doing undisclosed promotional work for Bark Phone and violating her own funders' ethics policies. The audacity is honestly impressive at this point, but the Reddit threads were savage across multiple communities. This wasn't random internet drama. This was journalists, media critics, and regular people recognizing that someone who's made a career attacking others for ethical lapses was engaging in systematic violations herself while playing victim yet again and getting caught. I'm not claiming to be an expert on Bark as a company or Omidyar network specifically. What I do know, and what should serve as a warning to anyone considering working with Taylor Lorenz, talking to Taylor Lorenz, doing absolutely anything with Taylor Lorenz, is this: when her name gets attached to something, it automatically drags down its credibility. She's been caught lying, spinning narratives, violating basic ethics, and playing victim when held accountable. That's the risk of aligning with her, is that she doesn't elevate projects. She discredits them. Whether it's the New York Times, the Omidyar network, or Bark Phone, her patterns of ethical violations and accountability avoidance become their liability. Here's what this whole saga reveals about the current state of journalism and why everyone should be paying attention, because Taylor Lorenz's behavior isn't just unethical, it's actively dangerous. First, let's talk about what happens if she actually does become the go-to source that parents trust to tell them how the internet works and how their kids are using it. This is a woman who promotes surveillance phones to children while not having children herself, who violates ethics policies while positioning herself as protecting kids, who weaponizes child safety rhetoric for her own personal gain. Do you want someone with that track record advising you about your family's digital life? But there's a bigger warning here, especially for content creators and business founders. You might think Taylor Lorenz is calling you for a story and you're going to get some free press. And here's the thing: she can like you one day and destroy you the next, depending on her mood that day or what she has to gain from you. The pattern is very clear. She used to be friendly with Ethan Klein from H3H3, and now they're in this huge public war. She was friendly with me until she decided to destroy my business for her own career advancement. She was friendly with Vox reporters until Vox no longer promoted her podcast, and now she's tattletaling on Vox reporters trying to get them into trouble. She's destroyed other founders and businesses, including many women in tech, like the former CEO of Away Luggage. There's a clear pattern of building relationships, then burning them down when it serves her purposes. This raises a disturbing question. If I had paid Taylor Lorenz, would she have left my company alone? Do you now have to pay Taylor Lorenz to get positive coverage for your business in the tech world? How does that work exactly? Where would we sign up? Because that's not journalism. That's a protection racket with extra steps. She has to pick one, guys. Is she a journalist bound by ethics, policies, and professional standards, or is she an influencer doing brand deals and promotional content? She can't really do both, but she's trying to get the credibility of journalism while operating like an unethical influencer. Taylor Lorenz has spent years building her career by attacking people for ethical lapses while systematically engaging in worse violations herself. She was secretly represented by UTA while covering their competitors at the New York Times, violating clear ethics policies. She destroyed my business by framing standard industry practices as exploitation while engaging in those exact same practices for her own benefit. She twisted my genuine attempt to protect a 14-year-old girl from exploitation into a smear attack, claiming I leaked an adult's photos when I was actually trying to prevent harm to a minor. Now she positions herself as a child safety advocate while promoting surveillance technology to parents for children as young as 6 years old. The second that she gets caught violating her current employer's ethics policies, she plays systematic word games. Proud to partner becomes unpaid promo. Hashtag ad transforms into portfolio building. Valid criticism becomes lies and harassment. This is Taylor's actual pattern. She only pretends to care about protecting children when it benefits her narrative. When I was actually trying to protect a 14-year-old girl from exploitation, you guys, she twisted it into an attack that completely dismantled everything I worked for like 13 years of my life. She doesn't care about child safety. She weaponizes it for opportunistic exploitation of the very children she claims to protect. And here's what's really infuriating. The media already has a trust problem, okay? People don't trust journalists anymore. And Taylor Lorenz is making it worse for reporters who actually have jobs and try to follow ethical standards. Her systematic violations and accountability avoidance reflect very badly on the entire profession. After Taylor Lorenz nearly ended my career with that ethics violating hit piece after I settled my defamation lawsuit when the judge ruled twice that it could move forward. A huge victory against the New York Times, who hasn't lost a defamation case since the 1960s. This saga confirms everything about how these people operate. If you want to clown me for not having the financial resources to continue fighting one of the most powerful media organizations in the world, fine. You want to clown on me because I'm broke? Fine. But Taylor Lorenz is the reason I didn't have those resources in the first place. She abused her power and platform to destroy a bootstrapped Latina immigrant's business, but I don't see anyone calling her a misogynistic racist. Woke and arguable, sure, but still, the hypocrisy is chef's kiss. They systematically violate the ethical standards they demand from others, attack people for industry practices while engaging in worse behavior themselves, and always position themselves as victims when people fight back. The professional victim industrial complex is real, and Taylor Lorenz is its most shameful practitioner. She dishes out attacks while violating ethics rules, then cries harassment when people point out contradictions using her own published content. The Taylor Lorenz Bark Phone saga is a masterclass in media hypocrisy and systematic ethics violations wrapped in professional victim performance art. Taylor Lorenz attacked me for advising standard industry practices while secretly violating journalism ethics policies herself. She twisted child protection into weapons against people actually trying to protect children. And remember, when I tried to protect a 14-year-old girl, I'm saying it over and over so everybody doesn't forget, I was trying to protect a 14-year-old girl from an OnlyFans creator who was accused of sending inappropriate photos to her. Taylor used that fact to smear me, claiming I leaked his nudes all over the internet. She literally sided with the adult accused of inappropriate contact with a minor and attacked me for trying to protect the alleged child.
You see, Taylor quotes Drip Crib founder Devion Young, who says, "She already manipulates you. It's a nightmare," Devion Young said. He said she used nude photos of his to shame him. Quote, "Right before we parted ways, she leaked my nudes and sent them to business partners, people in my house, and potential investors to slander my name, saying I was unprofessional." But Ari did not leak Devion's nudes, and Taylor has to know this, because Taylor writes in the emails no one is alleging Ari leaked nudes. So Taylor knows Devion is likely lying to her. I have the emails. No one is alleging Ari leaked nudes, and then includes the quote, "She leaked my nudes." What kind of reporting are we doing here? Because I also have the text between Ari and Devion regarding his nudes. You see, someone had made Ari aware that Devion Young's nudes were circulating on the internet. She then texts Devion to ask him, why are his nudes on the internet? And his response manages to be unbelievable, claiming that his phone was getting fixed, and therefore someone had access to his iCloud and leaked his nudes everywhere.
Now she promotes surveillance technology to parents while cosplaying as a child safety expert and threatening to sue anyone who quotes her own words back to her. All right, guys. Well, don't let them gaslight you about what you're seeing with your own eyes. When someone systematically violates professional ethics while demanding others follow rules that they refuse to follow themselves, that is not journalism. That's fraud wrapped in victim narratives. Should journalists be held to the ethical standards they demand from everyone else? Should systemic violations of employer policies have real consequences? Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and please share this video with anyone who needs to understand how media accountability actually works in 2025. You can find me at littlemissjacob.com, find my merch, the Don't Be a Crybully sweatshirt, Citizen Journalist, and for business practices that are actually transparent, if you want to get your social media clips going, check out creatorgenius.com. Remember, besties, seek truth, don't be a crybully, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Watch the moves unfold. Every word's a strike, every line is gold. Take your shot. But she's 10 steps ahead. Every headline reads the thread she just said. It's the rhythm of the bold, the beat of the free, the sound of ambition, the way it should be. Step by step, let the groove take control. Turn the highs and lows into pure gold. This is the show. This is the vibe. The Little Miss Jacob groove is alive.